This Big Ten college football preview edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Colorado, Indiana, Michigan, New Jersey, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted parlays to in-game odds on every major sport, WynnBET has what you need to win. Sign up today to receive a $500 risk-free sports bet. Download the WynnBET app now or visit wynnbet.com and start winning today. We're also brought to you by PropSwap, America's #1 app to buy and sell sports bets. Use promo code SGP on your first deposit and receive up to $500 in bonus cash. That's PropSwap.com, promo code SGP. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com with promo code SGPN and receive a free $25 entry to use in Best Ball Mania 2 for a chance to win $1 million. And of course, don't forget to download the SGPN app in the App Store or Google Play Store. Ooh, welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking that money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer Dog?
Sean, yep. I know we said football only.
Yeah.
We're still holding true to only talking about football the entire month of August, I think.
Let's go.
Maybe the entire rest of the year. Again, once the good looking side of the table 2.0. Welcome on our guest, Sean.
I will, Ryan. Thank you. Joining us on.
He's sitting by. It's awkward. I got a man sitting over my shoulder.
I was waiting for you to finish talking. Joining us in studio, Colby, Dant, aka the Dantabase. What's up, Colby?
20 some days, I don't know. Let's figure this thing out. We got football right around the corner. We had the games the other day. I'm ready to go. Put me in the game, coach.
Yeah, we got a little taste. Got our beaks wet with some NFL preseason. Of course, we cashed on the Hall of Fame game and the under and the Steelers. Lock it up. Just put out a preseason betting tips podcast with Adam Levitan. I've established a run. Make sure you go check that out. We are here to talk Big Ten college football. And I was looking back last year and looking back at some of the podcasts we put out about now. And one of them was our buddy Sir Yacht saying, giving us the exclusive that Big Ten was going to play college football. And we're like, he was very credible, even though his name is Sir Yacht. And they did end up playing football after canceling the season and then starting it up down the line. What a clusterfuck Big Ten football was last year.
Oh yeah. What's the meme, like where it started, where we're at now? Like the contrast between us recording that episode in studio 1.0 with Sir Yacht, uncertain of football.
Now we know
today
football's happening.
Looking
Fans
beautiful.
are happening. We're looking stylish, ready to go.
Don't step all over me talking about how beautiful we are, Sean, please.
Oh, we're talking college football. You know where you can bet on some college football? I'll tell you where. WynnBET, baby. You want to win big? You got to do it over at WynnBET. Ready to play? Sign up today and receive a special offer, a risk-free $500 sports bet. That's right. Download Bet Win. Again, you're going to be hearing a lot of Win Total podcasts, not only for the college football, NFL right around the corner, pulling all our lines from the great Win Betting app. And if it's active in your state, and a lot of states are active right now, they are live in Colorado, Indiana, Michigan, New Jersey, Tennessee, and Virginia. More states around the corner. Stay tuned for that. And you can download the app now. Get ahead of the game. Get ready when the state is live. You don't want to miss out. Just head over to wynnbet.com. Start winning today.
You could let that play. That song's awesome.
Yes, that song. I mean, all the football songs you can just listen to the entire time.
If you aren't watching on YouTube.com/sports gambling podcast, you should at least check out what we look like. Although I will be honest, I did have an experience where I watched a podcast I've been listening to for a while. Yeah, I'm still listening, but what I was gonna say is what you didn't see us off camera. Me and Colby we're rocking out to that music because I don't know if there's anything better than listen to those sweet melodies in my ear.
Well, Ryan, you got and we are all styled today by Cuts Clothing. That's right. Ryan's rocking the hoodie. Colby and I got the t-shirts on. Cuts Clothing.
What's up, bro?
Ryan, I didn't realize this because they Cuts has a big 5-year anniversary coming up. This is actually our 10-year anniversary of the podcast coming up. Unclear if we're going to do anything to celebrate, but I highly doubt it. But again, we put in a lot of sweat. We got a 10-year anniversary coming up, and Cuts they're celebrating their 5-year anniversary with a month-long anniversary celebration. That's right. Cuts founder Steve Borelli set out to create clothes for every occasion the modern man faces. Again, they describe it as buttery soft. These shirts, totally agree. They got this Pro Tri Blend tees. That's what Colby and I are wearing. Hyperloop French Terry fabric hoodies. That's what our man Kramer has over there. Again, I like simple stuff that feels super comfortable. That's what Cuts gives you. And they're calling them the Tesla of t-shirts because they're ahead of the game. Futuristic, sleek, comfortable. May help you get some ladies. Colby, I think when you go home, the lady's going to be like, wow, Colby, look at this shirt.
Hey, and that traditionally happens when I come home, Sean.
Feels good on both sides.
Compliments your shirt.
When I come home with my Damian Craig Auburn jersey from 1994, normally that's what I get.
Doesn't work as well.
Again, make sure you head to cutsclothing.com/SGP for 15% off and access to anniversary events all month long. Again, 15% off site wide by going to cutsclothing.com/SGP.
This feels like a pretzel bun taste.
Oh wow, Ryan, that is a lock.
I didn't even go to college for marketing.
Well, it's in that same way. It's got that smooth, buttery taste and look. It looks good, tastes even better, feels even better inside you. The pretzel bun. Which, I want to eat a pretzel bun now in a Cuts shirt.
Can I give a shout out to Farm Fresh? They were offering, not a sponsor, but holy crap, when some pretzel buns showed up to my house this week.
This is pretzel buns.
Ka-ching.
Pretzel buns.
I throw it in the toaster for a couple minutes, get it nice and warm, pull it out. I kind of rip the opening, sprinkle some salt in it.
Wow.
Boom.
Wow.
Little mustard sometimes if I'm feeling spicy.
Look, I was taken back by the 10-year anniversary thing. I was like, are we getting Tolzien in here or not? Maybe Sean, we get Tolzien and Juan from Walgreens here. I feel like that would
Colby,
be.
make a note for me to pull
go over
that.
To beat Juan's ass.
Pull that audio so I can send it to Farm Fresh. We need a new sponsor. I just literally aroused you with pretzel
buns are amazing. It's one of those things. Why do we even bother fucking around with other buns when you have the clearly dominant pretzel bun? And then why did it take so long? Our entire childhoods, I didn't eat one bun that was a pretzel. Why did I suffer? You can't explain it, Colby. There's no reasonable explanation.
I feel like this might come up one day at your dad's funeral. You should have gave me pretzel buns earlier. You motherfucker.
My dad did mention when we were at my uncle's funeral. He said, "Here's a line I want you to use at my funeral." And this was when I was a kid. I don't know why he was one. He was just really worried about his possible funeral. He said, "I want you to get up there and say Tom Green. He was a guy who didn't like to see food wasted." So that's how. That's
amazing.
I know.
Says every dad ever.
Yeah, lock it in.
Why are you wasting the last bite?
All right, enough messing around. Let's get to it. Ohio State, the pretzel buns of the Big Ten, coming in at a whopping 11 on the win total. Even juice on the over under. -400 to win the division. -200 to win the Big Ten. -250 to make the college football playoff. +600 to win it all. Colby, you have the floor. Your thoughts on Ohio State?
I mean, they have the number exactly what I would imagine. I had them going 11-1.
Yeah.
Database is in line.
A few weeks ago it was 11.5, and I really like the under. Now I'm really having to figure this thing out. And
I mean, where are they? Where are they dogs?
Well, here's the thing though, is that their defense had some problems last year.
Well, and the defense is certainly an issue, but Kramer and I were talking about this pre-podcast. Nice little nugget in the Phil Steele book. 0 passing attempts at the quarterback position. The last time this happened for Ohio State, all the way back in 1952.
All the guys, like they don't have anyone there.
Combined on the roster, 0 passing attempts in regular season
games, which
is
impressive.
But
you think you would stumble into someone that had a couple passing attempts. obviously that they're still going to be very good.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're starting a quarterback that has literally 0 snaps under center, I can see them maybe losing one game because again, it's just eventually there's going to be a game on the road where a rookie, freshman quarterback with no experience or one of these guys that just has no experience is gonna get their head below water and end up blowing the game.
Yeah, I think if I had to
be clear though, they're all like top line.
I was about to say,
they're all 5-star.
They're gonna be fine.
CJ Stroud, I think, was going to be the guy. That could be Jack Miller or Kyle McCord, but they also have this guy who's enrolling early, Quinn Ewers.
And let me take it
let's
real
talk
quick
about Quinn
because
Ewers.
here's my handicap. Colby can talk about football,
awesome.
but if you don't know who Quinn Ewers is, QUINNEWERS, Google it. He's literally the character you make in the college football game when you're trying to make a badass. He's got a mullet. He's got bleached blonde hair. He's got ridiculous forearm tattoos.
He's got the Bosworth style going.
Got it all.
Yeah.
This dude is showing up on campus early, reclassifying to basically skip his senior year of high school.
That NIL money.
Show up.
Well, we got to talk to this kid because if we can lock this kid down, even if he's not playing, I feel like he's already a star.
Stroud was a 5-star. Top line guy.
I mean, all these guys.
But this guy's big dick energy is gonna create a problem. He's either gonna do it on the football field.
Divide that locker room.
Well, it's either gonna be on the football field or off the football field. Because no one wants to see a 17-year-old with a bigger dick than that.
And could this be an issue, Ryan? I think that's actually illegal for you to be talking about a 17-year-old.
He's
dick.
17 when he's getting on campus. How do they deal with that?
I don't know. I mean, that's
anyway. The point being, go look at a picture of this dude. He embodies just BDE.
Stroud is obviously very good, 5-star. McCord making a push for the starting job, and then you throw Ewers in here. Is the QB room going to be crowded? Like, could that create a distraction, Colby?
I mean, potentially they got to figure this out. Who's going to be the guy under center? I think they could switch, periodically through the season, but I think if at the end of the day, if I have to, I don't like this one, but if I had to pick a side, I would side with the under. I think 11-1 is realistically what's going to happen with this team, and I think there's probably like a 55% chance to a 45 that they would lose another game. And I think out the gate, I mean, look, you got Oregon in week 2, but out the gate going up against a very experienced Minnesota team, PJ Fleck. Look, everyone.
It's a night game too.
Well, and like that Minnesota team, people think they're bad. Last year, Minnesota was one of the teams that played with like 35 players out every week. There's only like 5 of those. Virginia Tech was one of them, but I think it was a complete misrepresentation of what Minnesota's been building, and I think Minnesota could steal a game there. And then late in the year, I mean, I'm not going to say Harbaugh after all these times of no, but I'm thinking maybe that stretch of Indiana, Penn State, Nebraska, maybe.
At Indiana, not an easy game.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reality of the situation is if Oregon's the game, right? If Oregon beats them, then the under is likely. I don't think they go undefeated through the Big Ten, but I'm gonna at some point. Let's just play this game. At some point, when you have like a super program, you're gonna have to deal with some shit. And I think if this dude's really leaving high school in Texas early, which I'm sure is a great situation, just to get to Ohio State a year early and get paid. I don't know how much CJ Stroud is getting paid, but I wonder if it will be as much as what Quinn Ewers is getting paid.
What if it's something just like the recruiting trip a year ago while he was there, met a nice girl from the university.
Oh, that's cool.
And then maybe they've been exchanging, messages, and he's like, "Damn it, Dad, I'm leaving. I'm not going to high school. Betsy is in Columbus.
I'm in love." I mean, listen, he fell. What did the kid in Alabama? Bryce Young? What did he just sign for? $800K.
I think something like that, right?
So would you say the top recruit in the class, the best recruit since Trevor Lawrence?
Probably not as much though, because Young played last year, or I mean, he was there last year.
But this is the top guy, so I think he's coming to get paid. I wonder if the coaching staff, Urban Meyer's not there anymore. Daddy's gone. Are they going to be able to handle this kind of situation? Because there's going to be some heat here.
There is going to be a the issue in the NFL is these guys are getting paid millions of dollars, and they almost have as much power as the coach. In college, traditionally, it's been the coach is the dictator, the coach rules everything. You're playing for free, like the power is completely with the coach and the program. But now, let's say there is a kid like yours or whatever, and a booster pays it, gives him $1 million to endorse some local rib place. All of a sudden, he doesn't have a couple good games. Coach wants to bench him, but boosters are paying this guy millions, possibly of dollars. Things could get interesting.
Yes. And I'll go a step further. I'm fully expecting I'll be on Oregon when we're out in Vegas, week 2 of the college season, week 1 of the NFL season, because I think quack. Look, the Buckeyes are talented, but this is a dicier situation than people are talking about.
I actually think the Minnesota game's tougher than the Oregon game.
Well, and maybe that's bad for the Oregon spot if they lose that one, but
if they lose to Minnesota, they're gonna smoke Oregon.
We like to row the boat. A lot of time on Ohio State. We apologize.
Moving over to Penn State. Let's go. We are Penn State. Win total sitting at 9. Colby mentioned it was at 8.5 earlier, and you see that in the juice here. Over +110, under -140, +550 to win the division, 800 on the conference, plus 1400 to make college football playoffs, 6,600 to win it all for the Nittany Lions. Colby, interesting year for the Nittany Lions last year. They were kind of an outlier in all the advanced stats and metrics. They were +102 in yards per game and still ended up being 4-5. Lost a bunch of close games. Lost a bunch of like crazy, weird games. They have a pretty tough schedule. A lot of the prognosticators have them to be a pretty improved team. I know you've said you think they're going to surprise some people. Where are you at with Penn State?
I mean, I really like them. You look at last year and you see, okay, the Big Ten wasn't having a season until Sir Yacht said so, right?
Yes.
And then Big Ten followed. But honestly, it was crazy. You thought you had Micah Parsons. He opts out last second. They had injuries at the running back position. They had a brand new offensive coordinator trying to install a new offense. No spring ball. Just complete chaos. They outgained Indiana by a lot. They outgained Nebraska by a lot, but somehow managed to lose those games.
That Nebraska loss was horrible.
Yeah, and I think they're just a much better team than what last year shows. I think last year's just a flash in the pan. The schedule is brutal, but I think I lean over here. I obviously liked it better 8.5, but I still think this is a 10-2 team. This is a team that actually I think can potentially go into Columbus and give Ohio State a run for their money.
I'm digging these early conference games.
Yeah, shout out to the Big Ten. Shout out to the Big Ten. No FCS opponents between. Well, I mean, I guess Penn State has one,
Villanova,
but that's a top 25 FCS team.
Yeah,
and the fact that they open up with conference games,
I like that. I mean, the ACC's done that in the past, and the game it's more fun. It's way more fun than
Virginia Tech, North Carolina this year.
Yeah, that's a good game. We'll be watching that one.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, listen. You mentioned the schedule. You didn't point out why. Like you start out at Wisconsin, at Ohio State, at Iowa. Those three road games are. I don't. Not to say you're going to pencil them in at losses, but Penn State going to Iowa.
I think they'll win one. They'll win one of them.
I think
you start with 3 losses right there. I think it's just.
I got them beating Wisconsin, losing at Iowa, and at Ohio State.
They don't play Iowa till October 9th, right?
Yeah,
I'm just saying I'm saying starting with those 3 road games, that's 3 losses to me. So that's already 9-3. So the case for me to play anything has to be under, but like by a mile, because for them to go over, they have to upset one of those games. Because Auburn's still looking there on the schedule, and Auburn could be a team that comes from the South and just overwhelms a Big Ten team with athletes.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah, and don't overlook Villanova. Those in-state FCS games are always tricky.
I was still like a season ender.
I think, I see this team at Wisconsin. If they can get that win, then they have 4 home games.
Wisconsin wins at home. That's
what I'm saying.
I got Penn State winning that one at Wisconsin. It's the Iowa game that's tricky. The last time they played in Kinnick, they won, but it was on the final play of the game.
I think between at Wisconsin, at Iowa, and at Ohio State, they win one of those, and that's all they need.
I still don't love the play now that the line has moved. I thought 9-3 team, 10-2, something in there. Now it's a little tricky with.
Yeah, I'm going to go 9, but again, I'm probably not going to be locking it up. Kramer on the under at 9. Moving over to Indiana. Indiana. Their win total is set at 7.5, -110 each way, plus 1,000 to win the division, a 20-1 to win the conference, 100-1 to win it all. That's not going to happen. But what do you think about Indiana? 17 returning starters. They have Ohio State at home. Indiana was actually one of the better teams last year against the spread. 7-1 against the spread. I felt like I made decent amount of money riding Indiana last year. Where are you at with Indiana, Colby?
I'm on the under, man. I do think Tom Allen's doing a good job there, but I think last year, once again, a situation with COVID where they shouldn't have beat Penn State. We know that. It was a crazy game. They got the win, whatever you want to say. But I don't think I don't think this team was that good last year. I really don't. You saw it in the bowl game. I know Penix was out, but this year you're going to see hopefully not as many COVID affected teams out the gate. They're at Iowa. I got them losing that one. I think Iowa's the better team, especially in Kinnick. And then they have 2 sets of back-to-back away games. They gave themselves an at Western Kentucky game. Only something bad could happen there. And then follow that up with at Penn State.
That's what they generally say about Western Kentucky.
But then they have Cincinnati at a conference too, and it's like, where are you?
My Vandals. They got the Vandals on the schedule.
All you need is 5 losses. Well, here you go: Iowa, potentially Cincinnati, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, and also I just told you about Minnesota. Minnesota was not the team we thought they were last year. They're a better team than that. And even like the game we saw Rutgers, Greg Schiano in year 1 doing a great job last year.
Extracting.
They're going to be up. Purdue at Purdue on November 27th. That's a rivalry game. Throw that out. I think they're 7-5, 6-6 this year.
Yeah. And I'm kind of just from watching the film again on the quarterback Penix. I don't know. I'm not all the way in on him. And he actually kind of declined from 2019 to 2020. Yards per attempt, that's a huge metric. He peaked in 2019 at 8.7 yards per attempt, all the way down to 7.5. His completion percentage went down from 68.8 in 2019 down to 56.4. So I don't love the offense. It feels like, again, even pointing out their against the spread record, that was awesome. It was 7-1 because they were kind of pulling shit out of their ass to a certain degree. I'm with you, Colby. I'm on the under here.
I hope, and this is one where like you hope you're wrong because Indiana hasn't been that good ever. So it's like, wouldn't it be a great story? But at the same time, I just think that they're not what we think they are.
I think if they lose to Cincinnati, you're not losing this bet. Like I think it's determined early. They like you said, the double set of back-to-backs. And really, they were a team you were kind of touching on. They kind of got the best of the season last year in terms of like floating to the top a little bit.
Yeah,
people remember them as being really close against Ohio State, like that. No, and so I actually think they could fall way below this number. I think they could be a surprise team to finish last.
Yeah,
there's a lot of losable games on this schedule. Under 7, this might be the lock of this division for me, Sean.
Potential lock vibes. You sure you don't want to save that for Michigan, Ryan?
No, double lock.
Michigan, the Michigan Wolverines, 7.5 is the win total as well. -125 on the over, plus 105 on the under. 1,000 plus 1,000 to win the division. 18-1 to win the conference. 80-1 to win it all. Ryan, are you really going to give us 4 unders in a row to start this Big Ten conference preview, or are you embracing Harbaugh? This is quite the quandary you're in right now.
Is it me or are these numbers just all high, Colby? Like they're high on something because first of all, Harbaugh getting to 8 wins. Can Harbaugh go 8-4? Well, let's start.
Last year was the only year Harbaugh, since he came back to Michigan, didn't get to 8 wins.
Why do we think Harbaugh's a good coach?
We don't think that, but you mean we as the collective we?
Like the humans. Why do humans think he's a good coach?
I think he's a good coach, but I think he's definitely having his struggles at this stint. What he's done, you can't say he's not.
Just
a good
listen
coach.
to their road schedule this year. At Michigan State, so rivalry game on the road, that matters. At Nebraska and at Wisconsin in back-to-back weeks. That's super weird. And then they have who am I missing, Colby?
At Penn State, at Maryland.
At Penn State, at Maryland.
Well, they have 2 sets of back-to-back away games.
You look at this schedule, and especially you look at the way it's set up. If things go a little bit wrong early in the season, like say they lose to Washington, and then they struggle against Rutgers, and then boom, lose to Wisconsin. Things could go completely off the rails. Another team that I think if you're playing through the schedule, like it's easy to find a version of this team that finishes 7-5, 6-6 even. Hard to find only 4 losses on the schedule. I'm never going to be a believer in Harbaugh. I'm going 4 straight unders on the Big Ten. They are playing, but I'm maybe hoping wishing they weren't playing because
they did cancel their last 2 games. Pretty soft move.
Well, that's why I'm taking the under. They might not play all the games.
Their last 5 games are tough. Like you said, at Michigan State rivalry game, at home against Indiana, but then you go at Penn State. That's going to probably be a whiteout game. At Maryland, back-to-back Penn State and at Maryland. They also have a back-to-back at Wisconsin and Nebraska. And then to close it out, Ohio State. They do get Ohio State at home, but there's just too many opportunities for this team to fuck it up. I'm going under here.
And the reality is where are the players, man? Joe Milton's at Tennessee now. McCaffrey's transferred to every school in the nation. Oh no, he went to Northern Colorado. It was the other McCaffrey. But my point is that when you watch the team on film, you don't see game breakers. You don't see any. And to me, I'm on the under.
They're a Big Ten football team, and there's teams in the Big Ten that aren't Big Ten teams anymore, right? Like Ohio State has SEC talent, but
Michigan used to get much better talent.
No, that's my point. Like they're just a plotting. Like they're Wisconsin. They're a bad version of Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's like the super souped up version. When they had Jonathan Taylor and just dominating with the offensive line. Michigan, though, again, great team to fade last year. 1-5 against the spread in 2020. Since 2015, when Harbaugh took over, 32-38-1 against the spread. So pretty good at disappointing consistently. So I'm on the under. Colby, sounds like you're on the under as well.
Yeah, I am. I just think it's too tough. They draw from the West. At Wisconsin, at Nebraska, and then
2
home to Northwestern.
That's all you need.
Yeah, exactly. And getting Washington. Let's not forget Phil Steele was on the program, and he was like, "Hey, I got Washington winning that game."
Yeah.
So under all day here.
Let's do it.
Next up, Michigan State 4.5 on the win total, -120 on the over, +100 on the under. 50-1 to win the division, 80-1 to win the conference, 200-1 to win it all. Michigan State, Colby, what's your thought on Michigan State? It feels like Mel Tucker's still in rebuilding mode here.
But I still think if you got to choose a side of this, you want the over
because it's very low.
Because
16 returning starters, as far as like the advanced metrics, -14 on the turnovers. That should go their way. 16 returning starters, and maybe not that horrible. They're also in a spot where the expectations are so low. It's easy to surprise and get a couple wins, get up for that Michigan game at home.
I mean, that's the one thing with Tucker. I mean, the team looked like shit all last year, but they did beat Michigan.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, this offense, you're gonna another year in that offense. You got some transfers coming in. Anthony Russo, the quarterback from Temple, which I thought was good at Temple.
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker, the running back from Wake.
Russo.
I like those additions, and I think there's opportunity here. Look, they beat Northwestern a season ago. I know it's at Northwestern, but Northwestern lost the most talent of any of the Power 5 last year. So that one right there, it is a winnable game to me. They beat them last year, and most of that talent's gone. Then you got Youngstown State. I'm not sold on Miami, although I'd favor Miami. We don't even know De'Aaron King's knee situation.
That's what I was going to say. Like that's a good time to catch him.
Yeah, and then Nebraska and Lansing. I'm kind of high on Nebraska this year, but that's still a winnable game. Western Kentucky, Rutgers, winnable. Even further down the line with Purdue and Maryland, winnable. I just think you got to take the over here. I don't expect them to be bowling, but I think 5 and 7. Wouldn't be shocked if they went 6 and 6.
Yeah, and no back-to-back road games. Or at least
they have at Rutgers and at Indiana.
They don't have 2 sets of back-to-back road
You
games.
could be sitting on 4 wins for a long time.
Yeah, you could.
Until Maryland maybe later in the season. But yeah, it's pretty easy to get to 4 wins in the first 5-6 weeks of the season, I think. And if you want to talk about a team that, I mean, again, we discussed this in the office. It's like, wow, Michigan State really fell hard fast. And I think like maybe we think Mel Tucker might be a questionable individual.
Midnight Mel
might be a questionable individual, but it's hard for me to believe that this team isn't gonna get up and beat some of these teams that historically that it would be embarrassing to lose to.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to ride with the over here.
Yep, let's go first over, baby.
Speaking about questionable individuals, Rutgers, Greg Schiano, they're back. What is it? It's his second year back. He coming off 3 Big Ten wins. Win total sitting at 4. 20-1 to win the division, 60-1 to win the conference.
Should have been coach of the year last year.
Number 1 special teams unit in the Big Ten, and 21 returning starters. How do you not take this Rutgers over? I mean, I find Schiano kind of annoying, but it seems, I mean, they had 3 Big Ten wins just in the Big Ten last year. Them getting to 4, you can make a pretty easy case. That push feels in play at the very least. And again, he's the type of guy where if you get into his program and he starts really brainwashing these kids, getting them all chopping wood, I think over 4 is pretty easy to get there, right?
Yeah, and like I said, or like you said, last year he had 3 wins. He didn't have spring ball, and that transition that he did with that roster. That if you go back and look at the 19 season, they got their ass kicked by everybody. So he pretty much had the same team, and they were much more competitive. They almost won. They almost beat Michigan. There was like 3 overtimes they lost to Michigan. Some other close losses there. I think this team's going to start out 3-0. And then, and so then all you need is 1 win after that.
But
no, this is a lock. This is a for sure lock. I think they're better than Maryland. They beat them last year. Why wouldn't they beat them this year in Piscataway? I actually think they can be a thorn in the side of a lot of other teams. Michigan, I don't think they're ready for Ohio State yet, but I would not be surprised if they upset Wisconsin or Northwestern this year too.
4 of their last 6 games on the road. That's going to be tough. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right though. I think you're gonna. This is another one that you could get to very. They might be 3-0, but I don't see the 2 wins the rest of the way. But he is like a Tom Thibodeau. He does seem like he's gonna
get the most out of.
How
his
about
guys.
the energy of Piscataway? They're the number 14 recruiting class in the nation right now at Rutgers.
So I'll say they find a way. Like Schiano, clearly like elite bag dropper. So I'll potentially fellow future Jersey legends will take the over.
Schiano, Joe Theismann, Ryan Kramer, all in the New Jersey
Al
Hall of
Harrington.
Fame. Maryland, their win total is set at 5.5, -150 on the over, +125 on the under, 50-1 to win the division, 80-1 to win the conference, 250 to win it all. Of course, you got Tua's little brother there at quarterback, kind of a dual threat. Interesting note, they were the first team since the FBS was established to win back-to-back road games as an 18+ point dog. 2-3 against the spread though, which is kind of crazy if you factor those in. I think Maryland, maybe they're getting too much hype because they have the offense to put up points, which will certainly keep them in games. But that defense, ton of questions. I'm leaning under here. Colby, where are you at with Maryland?
Well, their head coach, he's been a head coach for a while now. Before Maryland, he was at New Mexico. He's 8-43 as a head coach. This is someone.
How do you get so many chances?
Yes.
How do you get promoted after that?
This is a lock on the under. Look, I don't care. Last year you can pull up the schedule and they say, oh, they're 2-3. They showed signs. No, they didn't. What they did is they ran into a nice situation where Minnesota had 30 players out. They lost to Northwestern by 41 points last year. Look, or 40 points. I'm sorry. They beat Minnesota in overtime while Minnesota's whole roster is depleted. Now they did beat Penn State, and that was weird.
And Colby, how did Mike Loxley get the Maryland job?
Nick Saban.
New Mexico, he was 1-11, 0-4. And then 4 years later, he gets the head coaching job at Maryland.
That's how it works. You go down to Alabama.
Yeah.
You run you do something for Saban.
Well, he's known as a master recruiter, which means drop
He's
off a bag of cash. Yeah. But give me the under all day. This is a lock. I mean,
and especially you want to say NIL guys that were formerly master bag droppers, and that's how they were getting by. Even his 8-43 schedule. Yeah, I mean, all over the under here.
Well, I mean, then you look at the fact they get West Virginia at a conference. West Virginia is better than them. I even think that Kent State game is dangerous. They had the number 1 offense in the country a season ago. Now Maryland might win that one because Kent State's defense is so bad, but it's still a dangerous game. I can't see what you need them to have 6, right? It's 5.5, right? There's no way. It's impossible.
And how are you getting plus juice on the under on Maryland?
Yeah.
Okay, so here.
I mean, the guy has won 8 career games out of 51. He would have to almost match that total to hit the over.
Let me take you through the Mike Locksley experience. 2009 New Mexico 1-11.
And he inherited like a decent team.
2010 New Mexico 1-11. 2011 New Mexico 0-4. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. 2-26 overall. All right, then it was 2015 in Maryland. He must have taken over in season 1-5. They liked him so much. 4 years later, they brought him back. Head coach 2019 3-9.
But hold on, let me just give you some of these losses.
He's never
in 2019 they lose to Penn State 59-0. They lose to Purdue 40-14.
Okay.
They lose to Minnesota 52-10. Michigan 38-7. Ohio State 73-14. Nebraska 54-7.
So I'm doing a new thing this year. I've been dabbling in the Apple Notes app a little bit. You know, it feels a little bit lighter, a little more low key than Google Docs. Anyway, so I'm making a college football notes where I'm just going to put in some bullet points, and it sounds like what we're saying is fade Mike Locksley.
Yes.
Is going to be the first thing I write down in my black book for this year.
He's a good recruiter too, so it's the ultimate.
You mean like Les Miles?
Yeah, but it's like how are you recruiting this good and you're winning? How are you losing to Northwestern by 40?
So you're telling me. Week 2 of the college football season, we're going to be on Howard and the points at Maryland.
No, I won't actually, because that's the one team. any other game, okay, but Howard is really bad. Howard's really bad.
Howard is the one team Colby won't support in college football. Come on, Colby.
Look, I don't like teams named the Bison.
Bison. All right. So we're all in the under here, I guess.
All in the under.
It's a lock.
And we found ourselves a new Les Miles.
Kermit, let's talk about Paramount Plus.
It's the summer of soccer, and it's continuing on Paramount Plus. Stream over 2,000 soccer matches a year from around the world. That's all the heart-pounding drama from CBS Sports, including UEFA Champions League, Europa League, Italy's Serie A, Argentina's Primera División, the Brasileiro, NWSL, the Asian Football Confederation, the CONCACAF qualifiers featuring the stars from the U.S. and Mexican men's national teams, and plus much, much more. It's all the best. It's the best of a beautiful game with all the beautiful names like Messi, Mbappe, Ronaldo, Rapinoe, and Pulisic. Be part of the excitement as champions are crowned and history is made. The world's game lives here on Paramount Plus. Visit ParamountPlus.com to start your free trial and stream every match live.
Did he say the Brasario? Or what was that?
The Barrio.
What?
Let's go down to the Barrio.
I felt like it was like the bra in Seinfeld that they got for men.
The Brazier.
Yeah.
Hey, reminder also.
Brosier.
Oh, the Bros here. That's right. The Bro. We're brought to you by Prop Swap, America's #1 app to buy and sell sports bets. Football season, it's here. Oh man, if you bet on the under in that Hall of Fame game, could have sold that mid-game. It was skyrocketing in value. Again, Prop Swap though, it's for those futures, buying and selling them. That's the place to go. Get a couple of long shots, college football long shots. Maybe you're high on Maryland winning it all, 250-1. They get off to a hot start. Highly unlikely, but again, that's what's fun about Prop Swap. You don't need to win the bet. All you need to do to get a profit is have the odds increased. Head over to PropSwap.com and start buying and selling sports tickets today. Again, and don't be afraid to go for 2, where you get 2 tickets on the same team, the same bet. So if one starts heating up, you can sell it, get your money back, and still have skin in the game. What are you laughing at over there, Ryan?
Just watching as the reads are happening. Colby's just getting in some sweet likes on like some South Dakota State football.
Anyone that's playing football in the university is showing the practice is getting a like. All right, play football. Kids out there, don't be a pussy. Play football. All right.
It's a message for the children.
The war on football is discussed a decent amount in the office, so we're on the side of football.
Christmas and football. Wisconsin. Win total is at 9.5, -120 on the over, +100 on the under, -110 to win the division, +700 to win the conference, 8-1 to make the college football playoff, 60-1 to win it all. I'll start with this. Even the win total at 9.5, I mean, what I don't understand here is they're minus 110 to win the division. I guess just they're assuming they're going to go lose to Ohio State in the Big Ten Conference Championship game and then not get into the college football playoff. Because
precisely,
yeah, all right. Because I'm thinking in my head, minus 110 to win the division, 8-1 to make the college football playoff. They're assuming you're going to have to knock out Ohio State in the Big Ten Conference Championship game. But where are you at with Wisconsin, Colby?
I'm on the under.
Really?
I think the schedule does break nice for them, but I think they lose to Penn State in the opener. They had some questions last year. I know Mertz is a quarterback that was one of the first to do the NIL thing, but and I think he's talented, but I'm not ready to crown him yet. I think between Penn State and Notre Dame, they could have 2 losses in its first 3 games, and then after that, you look and yes, they've owned Michigan and Camp Randall. True, that probably will happen again. Watch out for that Army game. Triple option. Hey, the last time Army played at Michigan and went to overtime. Last time Army played at Oklahoma went to overtime. Watch out for Jeff Monken. But I see a loss coming from somewhere, whether it's Minnesota or Rutgers. Someone's going to bite them. Someone's going to bite them.
Fortune teller Colby over here.
I just think they're a 9-3 team.
I see a man in your future.
They're a 9-3 team. Now, if they beat Penn State week 1, then yes, potentially you could be sitting there looking good with your over. I just don't think they're there yet. I don't
Dream scenario. They catch the games at home that they need at home. Iowa, Penn State.
Not the Minnesota,
they got all the
Minnesota
games.
ones.
They have Notre Dame and like where they Soldier Field is that what it is? And then at Minnesota, at Rutgers, at Purdue, at Illinois. None of those scare you. 9.5 is not the right.
How can you say none of those scare you though? When this is a team,
and they're not good on the road. I understand. You're right.
I mean, this is a team that lost to Indiana 14-6. They lost to Northwestern 17-7. Iowa beat them 28-7 last year. They barely beat Minnesota with 35 players out.
I don't think they lose their home games, and I don't think they drop 2 games on the road. Or 3 games on the road.
I mean, it is a great schedule. Drawing those, that is your road schedule.
I mean, think about
also,
it.
This team,
they can't lose to Illinois. Like they're not going to lose.
You know who the coach of Illinois is?
I do. He is a former.
Well, do you remember the way he left Wisconsin?
I don't give a shit about that. What I do know is he's been learning. We'll get to him in a second. Yeah. Let's wait.
4 home games to start off the season, and last year was like program low, 3.9 yards per carry in the run game. I think they get that back. This team will be able to run the ball, and 9.5. I mean, just it's more a schedule thing. I don't know, Colby.
It's neutral
Badgers
site.
Are going to run
neutral site for Notre Dame, but that's coming off a bye. So,
but I think Penn State, Notre Dame, and then watch that Minnesota game at the end of the year. I also think that Rutgers game could be dangerous.
Yeah, I think you're stretching here. I think you're stretching.
Watch Greg Schiano. I've seen him do it before.
Over, baby.
I've seen him do it before.
Let's go over. Iowa 8.5 -105 on the over, -115 on the under. 2-1 to win the division, 10-1 to win the conference, 14-1 to make the college football playoff, 100-1 to win it all. Colby, what do you think about this Iowa team?
I'm on the over, man. I think this is a team that is sitting in a great spot. First off, everyone in the whole state is talking Iowa State. They are getting a ton of hype. Matt Campbell has yet to beat Iowa
week 2,
and I think they're going to get Indiana week 1, and then you look at the rest of the schedule and they get Penn State and Kinnick. Yes, at Wisconsin could be a pivotal game. They get a bye week before it. I think they're better than Northwestern this year. I don't see many for sure. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and say this. I don't see one for sure loss on their schedule.
They started out kind of slow last year, but they had a super young team, and you saw them kind of come together down the stretch, finishing 6-2. I think that's going to make a difference. And Iowa, I mean, certainly all these teams are going to benefit from having a home crowd, but I think Iowa in particular, I think they're. We talked with Phil Steele about certain programs having a little bit more of a home field advantage. Iowa to me could be in that mix. 5-2-1 against the spread last year. 8.5 kind of high, but I think they get it done. I have them winning 9 games.
Yeah, I mean, look, I get it. Their style of play keeps them. They never really just totally blow away teams unless it's Maryland, and that leads you to potentially losing to someone you shouldn't, which can still happen. But I still think Ferentz he's an elite coach for a reason. Give me the over.
The defense has to return a lot. So I mean. They're not playing good defense. They're going to be in trouble, especially.
Have they ever not played good defense with Kirk Ferentz?
You trust it,
yeah.
But it might take a couple games, and they don't have a runway. That's the problem.
Minnesota win total set at 7 -110 either way. 7-1 to win the division. 25-1 to win the conference. Colby, I feel like you're always high in Minnesota. Rank their coach really high.
Row that boat.
Are you getting on the over again?
Hell yeah! This is misrepresentation. Like to me, this team is better than what.
Colby's a boat guy.
You have to go to 2 years ago. Last year, you cannot go and look at that season and because none of those players that played are going to see the field. This is one I love, especially knowing Northwestern lost that much production. They do have that back-to-back stretch of at Iowa, at Indiana, which is scary. But I row the boat all day, man. I think they're definitely going to hit this over.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I was on the under for Iowa. Sean's keeping a wonky score over there. Yeah, I think with I mean, you like the program, right? You're just buying into this program.
They have Tanner Morgan back. He's an elite quarterback. You can make a case he's the best quarterback in the Big Ten.
I mean, probably one of the guys at Ohio State, right?
Well, I'm saying, but they haven't played.
I know.
But yes, probably. Right?
Yeah, I mean, again, look, when you look at the schedule, they could easily. I mean, how many of those games to start the season? The games that you're hoping to bank some wins, how many they win?
And what better spot to catch Ohio State than their inexperience in game one?
It's the game to get them. That's what you're betting on, right? You're betting on. I
got them winning the next 4 after Ohio State, but if they can steal Ohio State, then they're starting out.
Colorado's down, right? Like they're not.
Well, they're starting a young quarterback.
Yeah, I'll go over here. I think you could, even if you obviously Ohio State's gonna be a tough game. But even without that, you're sitting at 4-1 probably.
And then you're home to Nebraska and Maryland.
Yeah, they also have a very strong offensive line. A team like that. Yeah, I'm with you. I was kind of on the fence, but the program as a whole, pretty strong. And yeah, getting to 7 when you really look at that schedule doesn't seem that crazy.
And to Colby's point, like if you're gonna you want to play Ohio State as early as possible, they got a lot of fresh blood.
Keep an eye on Ibrahim, their running back. He's a stud.
Yeah. I meant to highlight him. Dude's a fucking beast. Northwestern 6.5 on the win total, -105 on the over, -115 on the under, 14-1 to win the division, 30-1 to win the conference. Colby, where are we at with Northwestern? 7-1-1 against the spread last year, but fewest starters coming back in the Big Ten,
and their legendary defensive coordinator's gone. But at the same time, look, I have a blind thing with Pat Fitzgerald. Just take the over.
And you're number one coach, right?
Yeah, he's going to get the maximum.
He's
out of
a
his
good coach.
team.
It's a good program, but I think
it's
even
cyclical, right?
Even look at their against the spread record and all the starters they lost.
They were good last year.
They were good last year, but I think
remember they were good.
You can make a case.
Yeah,
the win total 6.5. You said right?
Yes.
You can make a case they start out 6-0, and I don't think it's that far fetched. Listen to this.
I think you're a little crazy. I'm taking the under.
Hold on. Tell me where the flat out loss is.
Is this where the team previews sound like? You could make a case.
Michigan State, Indiana State,
okay,
Duke, Ohio, Nebraska, Rutgers.
Okay.
This is a team that's won the Big Ten West 2 of 3 years.
And then they go Michigan, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Purdue.
And all they need is one of those. Purdue and Illinois at the end. Come on. You gotta just say blindly take the over on Fitzgerald.
I'm gonna take the under.
I'm due for an under. Too many overs in a row.
I just think
good science.
This program doesn't. They don't. It's only 7 games, but
they just put 2 players out in the first round for the first time ever. This program's rolling right now.
Yeah. Under.
Nebraska, friend of the program, Larry the Cable Guy, likes his Nebraska Cornhuskers. I think the win total when we talked to him maybe it was 5.5. It's up to 6 now. -125 on the over, +105 on the under. 14-1 to win the division, 30-1 to win the conference. Colby, Big Red, are they doing it this year? Is this Scott Frost's year?
It is, and he's on the over. Or I'm
his
on the over.
His ass is hot, that's for sure.
Well, the AD stepping down and Trev Albert's coming in, I think helps him a little bit. And I got them starting out 3-0. You know, the week 0 game against Bielema. Great time to catch Bielema. First game, you know, shortened week 0 essentially. You know, then Fordham, then Buffalo. Got them 3-0. And then, you know, you look at some of these other games like Michigan State, winnable, Northwestern, winnable, Michigan, winnable. besides Ohio State and at Wisconsin, I don't see the flat out losses. I think this team's going to go 7-5, 8-4, something.
How
like
many
that.
years has Martinez been there?
This is
Like
year
18?
3, I believe. Yeah, Adrian Martinez
Feels like he's been there a while.
He's a stud, man.
Scott Frost, 12-20 overall. Not great. Their defense needs to get better, and I think it should. 29.5 points per game last year, but they're bringing back 10 starters. So when you have that kind of consistency, I think that's huge.
And when you look at the fact they lost 3 games by a score or less last year, and if you go back to 19, it was like that as well.
Yeah, a bunch of close losses, and also the turnover aggression, -15 on the turnovers. That's bound to bounce back as well. And then throw them in the teams that would benefit from having the home field going again.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, again, it's also kind of a strange road trip for the Big Ten. There,
Are you on the over, Kramer?
Yeah, I'm on the over. I mean, just from the game theory perspective, I like them more than I like Northwestern. So
yeah, Colby, are you? I guess no, Colby wouldn't say that because he's a Northwestern. Gun to your head, Northwestern and Minnesota, 2 of your favorite teams. Who ends up with more wins?
Minnesota. Minnesota's in a better spot this year, I think.
Okay. Moving over to the bottom of the barrel, Purdue sitting at 5 wins, -120 on the over, +100 on the under, 33-1 to win the division, 80-1 to win the conference. Colby, what do you think about the Boilermakers?
I think they should fire their athletic director because he is a crazy person. Guys, I do my top 10 schedules, hardest schedules each year.
This is
every year Purdue's there. They play 11 Power 5s. And their other game they add, we know UConn's trash, but they're playing at UConn, and it sets them up to a back-to-back away with Notre Dame. They have 2 sets of back-to-back away games on the schedule. This is one of the most ridiculous schedules in the nation. Give me as much as I like what Jeff Brown's doing at Purdue. I think he's a good coach. I think he should be given a few more years because when you schedule like this, you shouldn't expect great results. They better hope they beat Oregon State in week 1, which I think is a true 50-50 game, because after that, yes, you'll get UConn. If you could start out 2-0, maybe ride some momentum in there, but I got losses.
Where are they? Illinois, maybe.
Show me 6 wins. Best case scenario, what? Oregon State, UConn,
Show
Illinois.
Me 5 wins.
Yeah. After that, it's like where? Maybe they beat Michigan State.
They might not win after their bye week. There might not be a win the last 7 games.
4 wins is kind of the top, I think, for this Boilermaker team.
4
it just
feels generous.
It's just tough to look at the program, look what's going on, and find any reason to really get excited about.
Is Drew Brees going to be going back to give motivational speeches?
You guys can do whatever you want to do as long as you believe in yourself.
Remember, guys,
dude, 11 Power 5s. I mean, if the ACC and SEC ever had the courage to do that,
what is this about? You think
they do this every year? 2 years ago, they did this.
Like, do you think, what's the UConn advantage?
Or is it just they're getting paid for some of these games?
I think they're just maybe just going for the why schedule that Oregon State game then? If you already know you have at Notre Dame, and then why play at UConn? Look, UConn's not good, but you're taking a risk now. But
you'd rather see this than the other side.
Of course. But at the same time,
we applaud you, sir.
When they're 4-8, and if you're like, well, damn, if they had just played Kentucky's schedule, they would have went 6-6 and made the Chimichanga Bowl. You know what I mean?
We like the Chimichanga Bowl.
I love chimichanga.
Brought to you by SGPN.
Hard to get a good chimichanga in Los Angeles. You think it would be easy because all the good Mexican food, but chimichanga is actually Tex-Mex.
Yeah.
Oh man, this episode's getting me hungry. Could go for a nice chimichanga. Illinois fighting Illini. 3.5 is the win total. -125 on the over. +105 on the under. 50-1 to win the division. 150-1 to win the conference. Illinois 9 starters on each side of the ball coming back. They were 2-6, but they were also down to their 4th quarterback. Lovie Smith left a couple of years ago. Where are you at with the Illinois here, Colby?
Kind of a mystery team to me, but if I gun to my head, give me the under. They're at a conference schedule is pretty tough. The UTSA Roadrunners made a bowl last year, and then at Virginia, and getting them early, I think is dangerous because I think Bielema will whip this team into shape. But I think that early getting a week 0 game against Nebraska doesn't help. The UTSA game, and then at Virginia. And then finally Mike Loxley and Maryland come to town. But even that, Maryland's going to be the more talented team on the field. I just don't see. It was 3.5, right? I don't see 4 wins there. I don't. And maybe Bielema. If Bielema can somehow pull an upset in the first 3 weeks, then perhaps. But gun to my head, give me the under here. I don't feel great about this one though.
Yeah, I mean it was. I was just confirming my thought, but Lovie Smith didn't do too much right for this program.
No,
and most importantly, his last class was ranked outside the top 50, outside the top 6, outside the top 70, 72nd class. Which, when you're a Power 5 conference team, that's just not it. That's just, and you're in Chicago. Or you're in the Chicago area.
You're a former NFL coach. Like how do you not recruit better?
I get it. It's not the best area for recruiting. It's not been the best program. But what will Brett Bielema bring? Toughness, baby. Yeah. Coming from the courtroom of All Rise, Joe Judge, where he coached the linebackers last year. I worry that the talent level is a little too low. So I'm with you, Colby. Like I don't feel great about it though. Do you? Because I could still make a case where they beat UTSA and Maryland and Charlotte and then end up beating Northwestern.
UTSA they should beat.
It's talent though.
Yeah.
If you're recruiting at the 72nd class, you're recruiting at the level of mid majors.
Well, and the rest of the Big Ten is tough too. I mean, it's not like they're.
But it's also where if they had played like some of these teams, if they had gotten, Virginia a couple weeks later or UTSA, even Nebraska a couple weeks later, I would say, man, maybe there's a chance. Getting them week 0, installing a new offense, a new defense. I think it's tough. I think that UTSA game is tougher than it would normally be.
Yeah, because
of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go under, but I don't know. I'm not.
They're the ultimate mystery.
Not rush into the booth to get down on a 3.5 under win total. Now you talk about Kansas and they're over 1. Give me that all day.
Oh man,
that's a win total we could talk about.
They had a good practice yesterday, Sean. It's been reported.
And just to give you guys a little perspective, like Illinois was not like they weren't a top recruiting team before, but they weren't as bad as what Lovie Smith did.
Yeah.
All right, rest in peace to Lovie Smith and the Illinois program.
All right, let's do some locks. Double lock and a dog. Brought to you by our favorite dog, Underdog Fantasy. Head over to underdogfantasy.com. Promo code SGPN for a free $25 spin. You can use it on Best Ball Mania 2 for a chance to win $1 million. They got the $5 puppy. They got the $250 big dog contest. Best Ball Mania, aka fantasy football, the best kind of fantasy football where you don't have to manage your league and team, just draft the guys and stack cash. Kramer, what are your locks here?
Lock. What did I say? The lock early on was Indiana under.
Yeah,
is that what I said? Lock potential. But I did learn about Loxley later. do we
just giving you it?
Yeah, give me Maryland.
Nah, man.
I wrote it in the notebook. Fade Loxley. It's the first one. That's gonna make me think of Robin Hood too. For my second lock, coming out of the West, give me. You know what? I'm gonna go in on this Wisconsin team over. And also, let's make my dog. They make the playoff. If they win the conference, they make the playoff. It's a better price than them to win the conference. I'm all about extracting value here on the Sports Gambling Podcast, Sean. So why not? Right? Like we just talked about the reason the quarterbacks haven't thrown a pass. I get it; they have much more talent than everyone else, but it comes down to one game. Like really, it comes down to they're probably going to see each other and. Can Wisconsin do something away from home for the first time ever?
I'm going to say for my lock, I'm going to go Rutgers over 4. That's too low.
It's diabolical. Right
I mean, again, I'm not a Schiano fan.
Diabolical.
As a guy, you can Google that, but
he's not your type.
No, I at 4, this guy is just going to grind out a couple wins that he shouldn't. And again, the back-to-back years with all those guys returning, drinking the Scarlet Kool-Aid, I think is just lock city for me. Although obviously I also like fading Maryland there.
Has he threatened to cut his dick off at all? Schiano,
I mean, he probably already did.
He's in that camp.
Probably already did like year 2 in the Rutgers program to get him to like 4 wins. Okay, as far as the other side, man, it's not jumping out at me as obvious as the other. But you know what? Over 9 is like a hair high for Iowa. 9.5 for Wisconsin's just too chalky. I'm gonna go.
Is it chalky?
I don't know.
Sean, look at that schedule. They're going to be favored in every game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sticking to being on the over, but I'm gonna throw out Nebraska over 6. That feels pretty good.
Colby's really pissed right now. We're sniping. We got to let him go first next time. Colby has to go first.
Come on. You don't, Brian, if there's anything we've done in this entire fucking company is give Colby a chance to talk about college football. So you can accuse us of many things, but one, not letting Colby Dant talk about college football is not one thing.
Well, you guys didn't let me do the whole FCS. All right?
He's literally taping 130 episodes. If there's someone out there that says, I haven't heard Colby talk enough college football, please, my email is open, podcast@sportsgamblingpodcast.com.
There's room for you in this locker back here.
All right. You want a dog? Oh, wait. Also, there was a great video I tweeted out at Gambling Podcast of this kid, must be like a high school or small time college football, where they're interviewing him about all the different players, and he's just hilarious. Like, so and so, dog. This guy, dog. He's a dog. We got to get that clipped, right?
Yeah, it's clipped. It needs to be processed.
Okay, let's get that processed. My dog play, some interesting ones. You know what? I'll do. I'll ride the Wisconsin win the Big Ten. Although then they would, how would they win the Big Ten and not make the college football playoff? You would just take that 800.
Well, they just win that game, right?
Yeah,
the West beats up on itself, and then it just upsets Ohio State.
If you don't think they're gonna, I mean, they could win. They could be 8-4 and 9-3. I mean, I think they're gonna win a lot of. I think they're gonna be at least 10-2.
Yeah,
but
so
is 10-2 out of the Big Ten beating Ohio State
right.
enough?
So,
probably.
I'm gonna say Wisconsin plus 700 to win the conference. Colby, lock, dog.
I mean, he took my plays here, so I got to switch it up a little bit. I'm going to stick this one. Rutgers over 4 is lock city for me.
Okay,
right.
What are you guys doing
in the West? Look, I was going to play Nebraska too, but I'm going to switch it up. I'll go Minnesota over 7, and I'll stay there. Minnesota plus 700 to win the West.
Oh, interesting. That's a much. I like that. I like that, Colby. Well done. I see. Colby should have gone first. I could have stolen it. No, I mean, I honestly like
Minnesota to win the division at 700. Okay,
and I couldn't find.
Honestly, guys, bet that. Or Fitzgerald's getting plus 1400. The guy's won the West 2 of the past 3 years. Plus 1400.
That is crazy. I'm sticking with my under, but you make a compelling point. Maybe my under is getting a little too cute, just because fading some of the trends we hit on. But yeah, the fact that the guy won it back-to-back years already, or what is it? 2 out of 3. 2 of 3. Yeah. All right, man. Football is happening.
Participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
Got a ton of football content. If you're a first time listener to the Sports Gambling Podcast, subscribe to the podcast. Download the app. Just type in SGPN in the App Store or Google Play Store. Toss us a rating and review every Monday, aka Merch Monday, giving away some fresh new gear for people who have reviewed the app or the Apple Podcast or Stitcher, wherever you're reviewing. Send in your review. Tag us on Twitter at Gambling Podcast. Give us a follow there. Check us out on YouTube for live streams.
But Sean, I've already left a review for the app and the podcast. What should I do?
What should you do? Download
we have
the
a lot of other
experience.
We have a lot of other.
The Die Hard Eagles podcast, the MMA gambling podcast, the golf gambling podcast. We got podcasts coming out our ass. Plenty of opportunities to rate, review, and get some sweet merch for the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green, and he is Ryan.
Row the boat, Sean. Row the boat.
Kramer, let it ride.